actually going to get the most out of a 2-post, 10-ton car lift? Is it a backyard enthusiast who wants to work on a daily driver, a small auto shop looking to add a second bay, or someone who just wants a flashy piece of equipment that will sit idle most of the time? And, for a regular buyer who isn't pulling 10-ton trucks every weekend, does the price make sense compared to a basic floor jack or a simpler lift? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you first start thinking about a lift like the HW10ASY, the biggest hesitation is usually the commitment. You're not just buying a piece of metal, you're buying a permanent change to your garage layout, a potential safety liability, and an upfront cost that can feel steep before you even see it installed. I've spent the last few weeks digging through forums, watching installation videos, and reading the fine print on warranties for a handful of lifts in this class. The consensus is clear: a lift is only as good as the environment you put it in and the way you use it. The risk of buying the wrong thing shows up when the lift is either over-engineered for a hobbyist's needs, meaning you're paying for capacity you'll never use, or under-engineered for a shop that needs reliability day in, day out. First, let's talk about who should seriously consider the HW10ASY. If you run a small automotive repair business that services light to medium-duty vehicle sedans, coupes, SUVs up to roughly 6,000 pounds, you'll find the 10,000 pound rating more than sufficient. The lift CE certification and the fact that the hydraulic system is tested for 115% of the dynamic load give you that extra confidence when you're moving a car around under the arms. The single-point safety lock release is a practical feature that actually matters when you're lifting and lowering multiple cars in a day. You can lock the arms in place with one hand and release them just as easily, which cuts down on the little but cumulative time losses that add up in a busy shop. If you're a serious hobbyist who spends weekends rebuilding project cars, the ability to install the lift symmetrically, columns facing each other or asymmetrically, gives you flexibility depending on the size of your garage. The 104-inch drive-through width in the symmetrical setup means most compact cars can drive in and out without needing to shuffle them around, a small convenience that can save a lot of frustration when you're already elbow-deep in a transmission. The included set of 4-inch tall truck adapters also extends the utility of the lift beyond passenger cars, letting you raise small trucks up to a 6-foot 9-inch height. That's high enough to get under the chassis for most routine work, and it opens the door to occasional work on light trucks without buying a dedicated truck lift. Now, who should skip this lift? If your garage is already cramped, the 104-inch width and the footprint of a 2-post system might eat up too much room, especially if you need space to maneuver a vehicle around the lift. For a pure consumer who only needs to change a tire, do an oil change, or perform occasional brake work, a floor jack or a smaller, single-post lift will be more cost-effective and easier to store. Likewise, if you regularly service heavy-duty trucks, commercial vans, or anything approaching the upper limits of the 10,000 pound rating, you'll be flirting with the edge of the lift's capacity. The dynamic load test at 115% gives a safety buffer, but it's still better to choose a lift that's sized comfortably above the heaviest vehicle you'll encounter. One of the biggest practical strengths of the HW10ASY is the 3-year warranty that A+ Lift backs it with a $499 value, according to the seller. In the world of heavy-duty garage equipment, a warranty of that length is uncommon and signals that the manufacturer is confident in the durability of the hydraulic system and the structural integrity of the frame. For a shop owner, that translates into reduced downtime and lower risk of unexpected repair bills. The warranty also covers the safety lock release mechanism, which is a moving part that sees a lot of action. On the flip side, the lift does have some trade-offs that show up once you bring it into a real-world setting. The installation isn't a DIY weekend project unless you have a solid background in mechanical assembly and access to proper tools. The adjustable screw pads on the arm assembly are great for fine-tuning the lift to different wheelbases, but they require precise alignment during installation to avoid uneven lifting. If the lift isn't level, you can end up with a car that's slightly tilted, which can cause issues when you're trying to work under it. Many reviewers note that the initial setup can take a full day for a professional installer, so you should factor that labor cost into your total spend. Another nuance is the hydraulic pump's flow rate. While the lift reaches its maximum 6 foot 9 inch height quickly enough for most garage tasks, its